All right, so this is a special session of the COTN tech team. We've got Dave on location in Malawi. This is amazing. We've got the technology working out for him. So yeah, Dave, how's it going out there?
It's going well. This is the warm part of Africa, and I wouldn't rather be anywhere else. Malawi is this little slender country down Southeast Africa, and I count it a blessing to be here. The staff has done an incredible job hosting us and taking care of us. The communities are full of children who are so excited, not just for visitors, but they're excited for school. They're excited to have the opportunities to be the leaders in their communities and in their country. So it's been an amazing time. And then, one of the huge blessings is to run into people like Francisco here. So Francisco is the COTN Malawi spiritual care coordinator. And so, we pray for him, he prays for us, and we have a good time. But he also on the side does a little bit of tech. So he does some of this, whether it's what they call a dongle, which is a mobile internet card, or whether it's the main internet Wi-Fi's. But I thought I would have Francisco join because just to talk with him a little bit. You guys can ask him questions, but the main reason I wanted Francisco to come on is, Francisco, we've talked quite a bit about, the schools. Mm-hmm. We might have a computer lab. We want to expand that. Yeah. And then we have all these university students who are trying to get their work done, and there's such a need for laptops. So as a student who's actually a graduate of COTN Malawi, and you've gone through some of that process, tell us a little bit about the need and the importance for laptops for our students.
All right, thank you so much, David, for a great introduction. Probably when I joined COTN, even before, I didn't know what a computer is, and even I went to primary school and I went to university until when I was in fourth year. Is when I was introduced to a laptop, for my own. Not only for my own, but we were at that point, we were 4 students for COTN, and we were sharing one laptop. Imagine, so for assignments, and it was even hard for us to type in things because we knew that when we were in fourth year. So it was quite a difficult moment for us to share one laptop for 4 students. And I remember maybe like touching a laptop once per week because someone else had a lot of assignments. And for that experience, it was so difficult for us to indeed have a lot of expertise in technology. And it even becomes so difficult for us even to teach others, especially because when we were in college, we were taught that you are leaders for tomorrow, and you are also leaders for today. So it was even so difficult for us to have a vast knowledge and understanding of what a PC is and what a laptop is, and kind of like the components of the laptop, until we were indeed given a chance to go through that process again. When we started when we started now volunteering in other COTN departments. So for a student to have a laptop here in Malawi is something else that they value most because of the coming of technology. Most assignments, most topics, lectures when they're giving assignments, they assume each and every student that they are whenever they are in their college knows what a laptop is. They have a laptop. So for our students here, I can tell you that at the lecture, we have few students that are they're keeping a laptop in their hands, and that becomes so difficult when they are doing assignments in their various colleges. So having a laptop covers a lot of, even like I say, maybe like 70% of their passage. It helps them because most assignments they're given in colleges. They're supposed to type. They're supposed to hand in almost every day assignments that they're supposed to hand in to their lecturers. Like for here at ICA, we have a school here that we also have a lab. That students, they travel, like I can say 15 minutes from primary school just for them to have an access to a laptop. So it is so difficult for even those students because they are in their primary school level, but they value that just to have 30 minutes of lessons on a laptop. But for all those in college, they don't have laptops. So if an opportunity can be given for them to have a laptop, it can be a huge opportunity for them to have good grades. It can be an opportunity for them to have a better understanding of what a laptop is while they are still maybe in the first year. When they go to fourth year, they'll have a good vast of knowledge and also understanding of what a laptop is, and also maybe they can also do well in school and also have a better future, and also impact their community, impact their families at the end, and also do well in school. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and so what we've done in response to that is this year we have a goal of, with COTN Malawi, they've earmarked 40 laptops that they want to provide to the university vocational students. And of course, they'll no doubt probably start at the 4th year and then the 3-year students, 2nd year. Because as you get up in university, there's more and more requirements for papers, thesis, different kind of high level work. And especially the students that are studying like accounting,
Yes.
Engineering. As much as the school may have tools to provide for them to do their assignments practically, labs, different practicum, we really need to provide those laptops. Now in the States, we have the opportunity with a couple vendors that we can get a tablet, like a Microsoft Surface, and we can get that, and I can send that over fairly affordably in air freight, and that's about a total of $300. So it's actually not that much to provide one. But I also want people to know that if they fund that, the funds can also allow them to buy them right here, because of why wait for me to send them over? And plus, I believe that if COTN Malawi is able to purchase more computer equipment and talk with the shop owners about technology, they might start to donate some supplies, but also graduates, we need to pray through them having spots to either work with computer companies or computer stores, so that there's a spot for them to have an internship or them to work in those stores. And so we really need to support them with more and more laptops. And guess what? Next year, there's going to be more laptops. So this really never ends, because there's always a need and there's always more students. Now, on our website, we decided this year not to have a project, but it's actually a fundraiser. And that way we could have it for 3 different countries. While we're talking and while you guys are asking Francisco maybe some questions about, the network and some of the speeds, I did a speed test the other day. I can look that up on my phone. But feel free to ask Francisco questions as I pull up the website for giving, and I can put that up on the screen. So you guys have any questions for Francisco?
Yeah, no, really interested in understanding what does the internet connection look like there? Like, obviously you're online now, so is there pretty wide availability for like cellular, like Wi-Fi connection, or what's it look like?
Yeah, so basically here at the office, we have close to 40 staff members that, because we don't have enough funds to say we will have more MBS, more like the strength of the laptop, like the network is quite not desirable because we have a lot of staff members. So we have close to six MBs that we usually share here. So you can imagine that we have 40 people, and for them to share that kind of strength is quite so difficult. So sometimes it gets whenever it's like maybe noon hours, it gets so congested that it's so difficult for even someone to open an email.
Yeah.
Yes, because we do have a lot of people like using that processing, like sending kind of like big documents to US and over like offices. So it gets so congested that for people to work, they're supposed to work early in the morning, or sometimes to use it during the afternoon hours, like maybe around 4 or around 5. So some other people, they decide maybe to go home late, so that maybe they have more time to send big files to us than maybe like do it during afternoon hours, like maybe like also like lunch hours. So it has been so difficult for even us, and even for the lab that we have, is we cannot afford to maybe like connect all the lab computers for students to maybe like Google things on internet, because once we do that, the internet is we cannot use it anymore. So if we can have an opportunity, say we can maybe extend the kind of power that providers, like the kind of like the internet like strength, then maybe that if you can have enough funds, maybe like to extend the kind of like strength, that can also be a good thing for us Malawians, because we can be able to send whatever email, and even also share things on Google, or share things on Google Drive and everything. Or else maybe like also connect on a safer way for us to like maybe also like maybe like keep our work on iCloud or elsewhere whereby we can share documents and also things with US offices. That can also be a good thing, because we don't have aircraft here whereby we can use and also keep bigger files and even the photos, because we cannot even have that strength to open the documents. So it's quite so difficult for us, but we know by and by we'll have an access to your help and with your assistance, if that can be also possible for us to have the access.
So what you're seeing, maybe if the camera's turning on and off and you might see light, is they're trying to figure out if it's the generator that's down, or they're switching to ESCOM, which is the local power grid.
Yes.
So if we pop in and out, that's a little bit of that. I will tell you this, that I'm on my own, what they call a dongle, which is my own internet, so I pay money. And so the download speed was 17.5 megabits, and the upload was 21 megabits with a 30 millisecond ping. So that's pretty good. It's not bad. I know that I did some other results, and they seemed, it just depended on when you did the results. Let's see. I did one the other day when we were here, and it was 41 download, 31 upload. And then I did one 2 days later, it was 6 download, 33 upload. So it really,
Interesting.
it really switches around.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were trying to pull a document to print, and one of our staff, he basically has the worst laptop because he's the resource guy. He gives all the good laptops away. I said, you need to be selfish. So he has the worst laptop, and he couldn't get it to print, and then he went to another building, he couldn't print. So I will say this, that we recently had Starlink extend to the Dominican Republic, so they're working on getting the kit sent to them.
Awesome.
So that'll be a huge difference. But the last time I looked at Starlink, all the countries were marked as a 2023 without a, they used to say first quarter 2023, second quarter. They don't say that anymore.
No.
So I think they pulled back just to make sure so that they can get the countries to sign up. for internet. But when that happens, that'll be a huge difference for the staff. Not just, they're already metering their internet, and that's like up at the that's up at the admin building. And then, to get it down to the school, they need a repeater. We need to have like a cell phone repeater.
So Dave, a couple questions on that. So you said you've got your own dongle. Did you get that when you landed in country, like as soon as you got there, or what was the process to get it?
Yeah, our team host Pike, I said, buy me a dongle, and it's just a small, it's like Airtel is the carrier. So it's one of these, like it's basically, I could put this in my pocket. And he said $20 was 105 gigabytes. So, but I don't know how to check it. I guess he could look online and find out. But $20 is like, that's nothing. I think it was 30 to buy it, 20 to fill it. But here's the thing. I put this in one pocket. I put my cell phone in the other. I jokingly said it's the only time I've been told I'm hot, because I'm a walking hotspot. And, I'm like, why don't I have this at home? Because this is really good, except you'll see that like it's transmitting, but it's not charging. So I need to plug it in because the batteries are low.
So Dave, how's the signal strength been with that device?
Well, that's what I'm using. This call is on this.
So it sounds like it's working well. And that's have you had pretty consistent coverage as you've been traveling in the country?
I have, but then I'm having to buy it, and once this is gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
Whereas staff are all trying to use we have a special deal with someone who's providing that service, and it's still expensive. So, this is a lot of money to be having all the staff walking around with these. Yeah. It turns into about the same amount of money, but for us going around the country doing different projects, we were able to get, we have a staff person or a team member who wants to go up country and do a project. So it's just easier to do this than buy, like I would never buy a cell plan. I'd never buy a SIM. I just buy one of these.
Interesting.
Yeah. So forget the SIM. I don't do SIM anymore because I got one of these.
Now, what's the internet situation look like for the campus there? You said there's a deal set up. Is it like a hard line to the campus that they share via Wi-Fi?
That's the one through Dave Pinto that's set up, right?
No, that's a different one.
Oh, it's a different one.
Yeah, because the one with Pinto? Yes, the one was because we had struggles because they changed because of the offices that he was here. So the offices they kept on changing. So the moment that we tried to, like I say, negotiate with them and say, oh, we have problems, they said, because you don't pay us enough. So it's so difficult for our tech team to go there most of the times and check whenever you have problems. So because we were in contract with them, like just a little bit, so that's why we had so much difficulties. Like we could maybe stay 2 weeks without internet.
Oh wow.
Yes. So people they were like, we need to find another way how people can have access to their emails. So it was so difficult for us. That's why we went to TNM. TNM is a government network service providers. So it's when we have that in contract with them. So it's kind of like it's quite so better, but because they do have they accommodate people depending on their source of income. So we were like, we can afford all that kind of money. So what if we give us lower BDS that we are able to accommodate? We have difficulties, but still more we can maybe try to have it just opening emails. So that's why we have lower strength, but we do have difficulties in terms of if we have a lot of people using the internet, it's when they just freeze.
But I'm sure you and others have found spots in town where you can maybe an internet cafe or
Yes.
There's places where you can, like, if you really have to get it, you can get it.
Mhm.
Now you gotta go in town, you have to have a vehicle. Sometimes
Yes.
you have to have a driver to drive you. It's
Mhm.
not, this is a country where you just don't assume every single person has a car and everybody has a driver's license. So,
Mhm.
you know, sometimes it's public transit or you have to wait for someone to drive into town.
Yes.
And, you know, with prices going up, just having free Wi-Fi is a luxury. But Starlink, bring
Yeah.
on the Starlink, man. That would totally change everything.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, you'd be like flying as far as internet.
Yeah, very true.
It completely changes things to where, like, I use my dongle this afternoon to have a Signal meeting. So we use Signal, and we did a call with folks on our solar project. And it was like in Malawian, different part of Malawi. We had 3 of the staff here with me. We had somebody from New Mexico, from Alabama, somebody from Silverdale, and we were all on. But it was like my dongle, and then each one of our phones kept on running out of power, so we kept switching people. It was just so ridiculous. But we got the meeting in. So, you know, my dongle with my money is able to do the transaction as far as internet. But when you're talking about hard lines, the vendor costs are high,
Mhm.
you know, and then there's no way around it. We've got to support the internet, and we also want to do it economically because we are a children's ministry, and we want to support the staff with communication, but we have to make sure that all the kids are taken care of in the community. I think anybody listening to this would say, yes, why don't we spend $10 more on internet every month? And in this country, $10 does a lot,
Yeah.
to take care of several children. And so in your mind, you're like, do you want to take care of a few more children, or do you want to do internet? That's why I call the in-country staff the hero, because they truly see the children, they see the situations in the country. And as much as we'd love to have everybody connected online, that's not a reality. Not yet. But that's why we're here. We're in an impossible place doing impossible work. So there you go. But it's a beautiful place. I mean, power, like, that's just like at home and there's a storm. You just rally around a flashlight and chill out, you know, tell stories.
I have a question about access for the villages like Big John's and Mitzlitsa, Chilombo,
Yeah.
and Chitipi.
Mhm.
Once the Starlink comes, is it going to be possible for them to? I heard you mention a booster or something like that a moment ago, Dave.
I would say that the campus will have a Starlink, and that's like
Mhm.
the first step in getting it. And we could full boost probably down to, I don't know. I mean, it could definitely go down to ICA. It's
Yeah.
possible that we could, and that's where Jeremy or other techies would help us resend the signal farther down to Big John's. When we start talking about Chitipi, we're talking about transmission and towers and shortwave, long wave, like stuff that's beyond my bandwidth. So I don't know about that. But I would say when Starlink actually comes to Malawi and they get through the initial list of people who signed up, then we could look at a second dish at Chitipi, you know, another dish at a Mitzlitsa,
Yes.
you know, and then you could just put them on the roof and they'll self-orient. So it's almost like you got to make sure that it's in the spot where nobody can get to it, and you just don't want anybody messing with it. Just leave it alone, and it's fine.
Do
And
they
it
have
has to have,
affordable electricity in those locations?
well, that's the thing, is they don't use a ton of power, so you're only talking about like a panel. I mean, it's not
Yes, that one. Yeah.
it's not that much power to run these things. So it's possible that with a very basic power set, you'd have an internet. Now, the power for everybody's laptops and cell phones, that's different, but it is a possibility.
Okay. There's a lot of the educational opportunities that we explore are all online and require connectivity. So that's good to know. I've been wondering about it. And the same is kind of true for the Dominican Republic. They have the satellite bateys, and we're probably going to send one to the office, is what I was thinking. But maybe we can get individual units for each of the bateys as well.
Yeah, the thing about the Dominican is they're spending a huge amount for internet because it's all based on the number of users. And so we figure that the cost will be about 1/6 the cost of the current internet using, if that gives you an idea of the cost, it's just astronomical because they have 30, 40, 50 staff and they'll just say how many users. And so at that point, then you have to decide whether you can send it somewhere, or you just get more units, right? You just sign up for more locations and a monthly fee. It's a flat fee. I think it's $129 a month now. So if we're talking about, my desire and dream is that I want to be able to have all the students actually go to all these online colleges and have university degrees by doing distance learning. So, if the kids in the remote schools come to a singular location that has amazing internet, like you're saying, they come to a lab.
Yes.
Well, what if like the admin building was set up like an internet classroom where you could like put up folding chairs and tables, and then they came once a week. Well, then everybody gets used to using that place until we get the remote location set up.
Yes.
But for Malawi, for Sierra Leone, they're in the middle of nowhere, Uganda up north. I would like all of the university vocational students to be able to look at open university, online university, all those degrees. And then if we're already doing it with ABC and the BTI course, where they're using high-speed internet to do international training. It's possible. They have to hire the video gear, and they have to have the high-speed internet, and we've built in the cost for that. So it is possible. You just have to have robust power, good internet provider, and the right tools. And they're being trained by professors in other countries. So we went to the class. It was just amazing to see 2 different professors from 2 different countries talking. I think one was the U.S. and one was, what's the other country? I don't think it was Zimbabwe. It might have been Zambia. And they were teaching. They were on the screen teaching like in a Zoom. So we could have students here attending on their laptop to any university. They don't have to leave their village to go get a 2 or 4 year degree. You think about going to university and the cost to travel and the cost to be boarded and the cost to pay for meals there, being away from family. But if you could do it remote, and COVID has taught us that you can do so much more remote, that they've purposely said, let's go remote on a lot of things that are still better than going in person. Because if it's a training module, it's up on the screen. We're past this thing of brick and mortar. There's a place for brick and mortar university when you're doing sciences and practicums. And I'm not saying you don't do that. You don't throw away the whole system, but there's a lot of degrees that already where you do distance learning internationally, and then you go there twice. You go there for a visit, and then you do your dissertation and have your thesis defended. So that's already happening. COTN should have and is trying to be an organization that puts that kind of technology in some of the most impoverished areas and communities that would have, there's no way that they would have this technology. Why not? It's possible. It's actually becoming easier to do. So let's do it.
Okay.
So we're working on it. That's the short answer. But the other part was the long answer. So I know we're running through time, and we're hoping that we don't run out of power. But any other things before we go? Because it's dinner time, and we're about 9 hours ahead of
Yeah.
West time. So anything else that you guys want to talk about?
I'm interested in hearing just like what it sounds like there are shops and merchants that are selling technology. What's the level of just technology literacy in the country? Like, is it something that most people are familiar with at this point, or is it still a struggle to get the right technology?
It's quite a struggle looking at the like the finances of the people, because most of the people, they kind of like get it's so difficult even to have a cell phone. For other people, it's so difficult. So for other people, the only technology that they know is just their cell phone. That's the only thing that they know. So we can say that for us here, it's quite not easy for someone else to know a lot of things, unless they have internet, unless they have a phone that they can Google something else. But without that, it's quite so difficult for even people to know what is happening behind their neighbor. So I can say the literacy is quite so far than you guys bet. If maybe a chance can be given, especially to our children, because we need to educate them even technologically, and things that maybe they can also use that to maybe like help their families, help their communities. Because let's say maybe we have like made our children, like maybe like made our children have a better vast knowledge on technology. They can use that maybe like to maybe invent something else that maybe they can help their community. Let's talk of maybe like trailer camps. Let's maybe talk of agriculture thing. Let's talk of maybe education aspect as well. They can use that to transform, and even they also maybe like they make a change in their community. So I'm looking at us using this opportunity to invest in our children, so that they are able to use that whatever opportunity that we have given them, to also teach their communities, teach their families, and use that knowledge to even transform Malawi, change the whole world. We can have someone else here, maybe like having a better understanding of whatever knowledge we can impart in them to also maybe like change the world. So we never know that if we just use this chance and opportunity, we can make a change, and we can have indeed a better impact stories in our children. Yeah, sure.
I would also add that adaptive technology means that, similar to the States, restaurants, businesses used to have websites. They now have a Facebook page. They don't have their own, you have to pay money for a website. And so there's whole businesses that are cropping up globally, as well as in Malawi, where it's on an app, because everybody's on a cell phone.
Yeah.
Now, you're on a cell phone, it's hard to teach Word and Excel and PowerPoint, which are required for students, and that's our focus. But there's a lot of people who, if it's an app and it's usable, they're fine with it. I mean, it is a strong computer is a cell phone. Now you have to pay for the power, and you have to have the power, and you have to have the internet. But there's tons of apps that are making things possible without having a computer. But that doesn't necessarily mean, now I would say with a cell phone, you could make videos, you could capture music, you could capture the arts. Like there's a lot of videos and things that you can capture with the phone, but it's harder to write the books. It's harder to do the art. It's harder to do some of these things, like even creating an app. Like there's no app in this country, there is in South Africa, that says where are the power outages, because we're having power outages, where are they up and down, like a live grid. Well, we have that back at home. Most of the power companies have a app that says report when the power is out. Here they have to call a phone number. There's no actual app, but I bet you they would use one. So they're not letting the lack of having laptops stop them from using technology, but it's just in that app world. And it only goes so far, it doesn't, it's harder to do the written word. This is a country that has a beautiful language, Chewa, and we were doing an Excel word PowerPoint class and just talking about what if, instead of all these videos on YouTube that we're doing training, what if the videos were in Chichewa? What if our staff here was creating a whole glossary of training modules, 5-minute videos that are all over YouTube. You can learn everything on YouTube. It's amazing. But they're all in English or really Spanish, Italian, you know what I mean. Where are the Chichewa videos for people in the communities who didn't get high English, where they have a basic English? Where are the Chichewa videos on, we want to share our information with technology. So where are we as a staff going to produce the best videos on caring for kids who've had abuse, neglect, orphans, all sorts of albinism, all sorts of situations? All the videos are in English. What if our staff was part of actually creating videos of training for all the communities in Malawi, in Chichewa? Well, you've just broken through a cultural wall, a huge cultural wall that says, okay, I can bring things and train, but coming from within the country, that excites me, because it empowers a voice within the country, and it also springs forth new ideas we've never even thought of.
Yeah.
We've never even thought of some of these things, and it could be very much from here to that kind of a intersection between language and technology that could transform Malawi. And we're like, well, we need to do that in the States. Like, let's stop thinking one direction. Let's think, back and forth. So that, to me, has a huge potential. Because I don't know, you go online and you can see, we talked about all the videos, like, oh, YouTube's for music videos and movies and entertainment.
Yes.
But how often can you find Chichewa videos? So you can find some, but not like a person doing the whole technology series on Excel.
Yes,
I don't think they have that.
Yes, music.
Yeah, a lot of music. So I think that's for also each of our countries. They each
So
have language. Yeah.
In that regard, you talk about our staff and maybe our students producing some of these things. What kind of exposure I'm jumping off of Jeremy's question about tech literacy? What kind of exposure do our students have? Maybe they're at ICA to technology besides cell phones.
Yes. Now we have we now have a capacity whereby our children are now going through a computer lessons. So they are competing with national. They do also compete with other national schools, international schools. So now they know how to type. They know how to maybe go on Google Bar, or maybe like search different things. Like for that can help them with their education. So whenever they have something else that they don't understand, like maybe some other parts of the world, or maybe like history lessons and other parts, like maybe on their lessons, they go or just might be one computer, just say Google, and they go on Google and look for things that will help them with their any subject that maybe like they are struggling. And also on the computer lessons, we are now able to maybe like our children to type something else without them looking at the keyboard.
Oh,
so it's quite something else that other schools they don't know how to do that. So it's quite so interesting to see how these students they are developing. So you can imagine that we only have like 200 students here, maybe like 200 students, but we have 1,000 children in the village that they don't know that. So if you can reach out to a number of students with that knowledge, we can transform Malawi. We can transform the whole world. We can transform a lot of children on technology, and they can use that to maybe like invest a lot of things, or maybe like do a lot of things that maybe even for us as well, we cannot even do that, because now technologically the world is changing, it's growing like every day. So if you can jump into that and impact a lot of children in the villages with technology, we can impact a lot of lives.
Well, and also they're getting it earlier. So
Yeah.
then they have more time in school to get the acuity to know that, not beyond just a cell phone,
Yes.
which then of course helps. They have national exams, and if you don't pass those exams, you don't go on in school.
Yeah, sure.
So think about all those possible online trainings on all the questions, because you know you can go through all the questions. You can look up all those different subjects. It's only going to improve the scores of the students, and they have a high regard for scores, district-wide, nationally. So the scores make a huge difference. The schools are very competitive on what their scores are, and then people notice like the school it's amazing. It's producing these kind of scores on a pretty straightforward budget, and people come and visit. Like, what are you doing at our school? What are you doing at this rural school? And we want to be some of the people that are in the forefront of that. And I'm just saying off the top of my head, like, I'm even thinking, why couldn't I just support having a dongle at a school for some kids to use it? And that's your tether. If we're talking about that, that's really easy to do.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of power then.
Yeah.
So I didn't even think about that until this trip. So there's things that are adaptive here that we don't have to think, oh, we got to install everything and have a big internet provider and then have a big building and all of that.
So did I miss something there in your answer, Francisco? Do our students have access to a computer lab there at ICA?
Yes.
Or no?
They
do.
They do have access. Yes.
Yeah, we saw it. It's there, and they have different days that they access the lab.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the mainframe one we set up. So we also sent over the Rachel, which the Rachel software, it's like a Wi-Fi, has the same kind of programs as the mainframe one. So really, we add a few more laptops, then they just Wi-Fi into it. So that's an intranet. And then if they then tether to the internet, then they can get more of the public stuff, like you're saying with Google.
Yes.
Yeah. So they have access.
How many devices are in that lab?
Workstations.
They're close to 20. They're close to 20. Yes.
Yeah, it's a nice room.
Okay.
We went in and toured, and they were just doing like computer literacy keys before they actually like open the computers. We just saw them at the start of the day. So,
Are those end computing
yes.
workstations? Okay.
Yeah, that's the one we sent over. So it's still working.
Right.
Like
Great.
this team that made it. No, it's like, is that thing still working? Yeah, it's like, great. But they'll have them all covered. Like they'll cover them for dust and things, and then uncover them and use them when the power's on.
When the power's on,
Yeah.
What's the timeline for solar in Malawi?
To wrap up, any last questions before we call it a night?
What's the timeline for solar in Malawi?
Solar. So we met today with our international solar partners who do manufacturing in Kenya. The batteries are on their way.
Cool.
The inverters and the monitoring system will be sent pretty soon. We're looking at least by November, we will be adding a major battery backup and the basic parts of the system. And that will cover like all these power outages pretty much. They'll just switch over to battery. And then when the main power comes on, they'll switch to the main power and that'll fill the batteries. So it's made to be like well over 8 hours of backup. And then they'll program it so when the batteries get low, they can have a generator turn on and ramp up the batteries, and then the generator will turn off. So it's very high tech, 21st century stuff. And then next year we'll actually send over the solar array, and that'll be quite an endeavor. But once that's put into place, that will power the batteries that power the campus, and the extra power will actually, they're looking at selling to the main grid. So instead of actually
that's cool.
paying for power, they can actually sell it back. They could charge things. So it's kind of like the Uganda system, where there's so much capacity that at 1 o'clock, they don't need to charge the batteries anymore. So they're looking at how do we use the extra power. Same thing will happen here. And this campus will be lit, and it'll be actually generating extra power. The national grid wants power generators.
Yeah.
So that add some power in because they're low. They're trying to fix their hydrant. So you have enough of those. Really, our importers said, man, I want to have people selling that system. So we could put that in our site as a location to view it. Then let's promote some of our kids to sell those.
Yeah.
All them in Malawi. So now we're talking about manufacturing and distribution. That's like real jobs here.
That's awesome.
So next year it'll be the solar part. The battery backup will be at the end of the year.
So like January or what do you
Well, the
think?
battery, no, I'm thinking that the battery backup will be November, and that'll cover the power outages. And then it'll probably could be April, May, because they make it they assemble it in Kenya, and they test it, and then they put all the parts inside 20-foot containers. And then when you bring it here, then they take it all out. They work with the staff here to train them. They'll take the batteries and put it inside those. And it's made so that sunrise to sunset, it charges the batteries. It charges through the solar array. And they'll overbuild it. So have too much power. They'll have to sell it, or it gives us a chance to add more power outlets. We could add stuff in ICA. We could add more lights. We could add more buildings. It makes it cheap to add things because the power is still there. So imagine this place where they're not running around turning off things and then turning the generator on, and then the generator's going like this, and they're like, what else do you turn off?
Oh man.
And then they turn off and okay, it's working. It's crazy. I mean, yeah. So that's life, when you only have so much power. I think is the generator running now? It is. You can hear it. Yeah. So we're on generator right now. So they must have turned off enough things to light us up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much. This was an awesome experience. We really appreciate you joining us.
Well, thank you. And thank you for all of you who are investing in the technology for children of the nations, for all the countries, but specifically for Malawi. And we just encourage you to go on our website to take a look at the different things we're doing in education and outreach to the communities. And just know that our heartbeat is to bring technology along with all those other things into the countries. We would love to advocate for that. And we would definitely appreciate any investments you'd like to make in solar power, in technology, computer labs, laptops, you name it. We would love to do it. So thank you all, and thank you for watching, which is a really long video. So we'll see how many people watch. You would never know when you would do these long videos if people watch to the end. So if you watch to the end, then we should give them a prize or something.
Yeah.
So if you watch the whole thing, then you're going to be saying, well, what's my prize? So we'll have to maybe say hi to them.
Yeah, sure, I can call them.
What's that?
We can get Francisco's voice on their voicemail.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to do crazy recordings for people.
Yeah, I can do that.
I like it. I like it. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Zikoma Kwambiri.
Ziko Mokwambili.
Yes. Yes.
I'm taking
Awesome.
Francisco, a life-size picture of Francisco with me to Puyallup this weekend to Lighthouse Church. You know, you've got your graduation cap on and your diploma in your hand. So you're gonna be there with me, Francisco.
That's awesome.
Yeah, take a picture. Where?
Yeah, take a picture of you with a banner.
No, it's on a banner already. It's in my office, ready to go.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. We're
I
glad
told
to
you,
had to highlight you.
international technology spiritual care guy. You're like a living brand.
Oh my
I'm telling you,
goodness.
don't
It is just God.
stay humble. Stay
It is just
humble.
God, yes.
Stay humble.
It's just God.
Paul will give you a commission later. So
Thank you so much
you
for
have to make some
for
income.
everything that you're doing, and Jeremy as well. Thank you so much for all the investment and everything, and your time, and for our children, because they're the future for tomorrow. See what you really appreciate your service and everything that you're doing for our children in both our countries.
Happy to help. And thank you. Thank you as well for the spiritual care you're providing.
Thank you.
All right. God bless.
Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you.